Hey, I'm Tony the Mayor, and I'm just going to take a little bit of time just to promote my podcast just a little more for you guys to take a listen to it. I want to try to be as natural as possible, as calm as possible. Usually I'm pretty hyped and just off the chain and everything like that, but I'm just going to come to you. Try to be calm right now and let you know to check out my podcast of Experience, Strength, and Hope on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or Spotify. If you look at YouTube, it's going to be videos now. We're going to start doing video. If you like the old-fashioned way like I do of just listening, riding in your car and listening to a podcast, you could go on Spotify. You can still go on YouTube, but you'll just be listening. Go on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor. Anchor is the base that I use. That's why it's called Anchor. Anchor is the platform that I use to distribute the podcast. And you might want to try Anchor yourself. If you ever think about doing a podcast and you're just learning, start with Anchor and build your way up from there. Anchor will distribute it everywhere for you, and it's absolutely free. It's free, so try it. But in the meantime, continue to listen. I'm doing a podcast with Cassandra Baker, and she's been doing her own thing, really. You know, I'm just producing it and filming it and everything like that. So make sure and right now I'm just actually just to take a little bit of time, get our viewership up, you know, start listening, start tuning in, leave a comment, you know, you leave a thumbs up or a thumb down, say what you like, what you didn't like, but most of all, subscribe to our podcast so we can get it out there more to people. You know, I'm just starting small. This was just a dream of mine to do. You know, during the pandemic, a lot of us came up with different things that we wanted to do, you know, at home. My first thing that I started doing during the pandemic was gardening, and I had a friend of mine tell me, well, let me back up a little bit. I was going to start gardening. You know, I had flowers and vegetables before, but this time, you know, I said I'll go out and buy these plants to start them. And, you know, and I was talking to a friend, and I called him a friend, and I just met him, hadn't known him that long, and he said, hey, instead of going out to Walmart and buying all these plants, go and get the seed. Get you some seeds and plant them and start from scratch. Just let them grow. You know, start from babies, you know, like you're nourishing them. And it makes you proud and just happy about what you're doing. You know, you can see them start growing just like your own children. And I did that. And that was therapy for me. That was something that was good for me. That was during the pandemic. I was locked in. We weren't able to go too many places. Wasn't too many places open. But I did have some seeds. So I was able to plant and grow and watch these, my vegetables come up, my tomatoes, my peppers. I'm so proud. I was so proud of my peppers that I had and that I grew. Excuse me. I was so proud of my peppers that I grew, and then I was able to dry them out and make me some, you know, red pepper seasoning and all that kind of stuff. So that was then, you know, and then as time went on, I decided I want to do something different. I always liked radio. I always liked talk radio, whether it was listening, you know, to some of the shows in Chicago when I was young, and then when talk TV came up, talk shows, you know, a lot of them came up big. I like them too. So I always wanted to do that. So I invested in doing my podcast. My first podcast was done in my closet. I used my closet and used the clothes in my closet and everything to muffle out some of the extra sound and just a regular mic that I had picked up, and a USB mic to the computer that I picked up, and I did my podcast like that. And if the first podcast was about my life, or my 15 minutes of fame with the Chicago Police Department, and that was in Chicago when my wife and I were on our way to Chicago. Well, we had arrived in Chicago around the projects, and we was accosted by the police, and one thing went from another. If you ever want to know the story, just listen to it. It's on my podcast, and maybe I'll do a video and talk about it again sometime. Difficult subject to talk about, still to this day, to talk about what happened with us with the Chicago Police Department. But I did that. And I did that in the closet. Did a few more of them in the closet. And then I ended up coming down here to the room that I was using, after a lot of things started opening back up after the pandemic. I came down here to this room that I was using for my home office, and I created into a podcast studio. I had all my, if you look around in here, if I could, pan the camera, I would show you, I had all my stereo equipment. I'm really into vintage stereo. But you know what? And that's one of the things that I did that helped me during the pandemic, is that I started collecting vintage stereo and fixing speakers and repairing different things. Everything that we can find, that we find interest in, can become therapy to you, or something to help you when you're going through those down times, or either those manic times when you're just too high and you have to find something just to bring you down. Find something to calm you, to keep your mind at peace, And these were some of the things that I did. I repaired stereos. I did podcasts. I learned how to put different things together concerning the podcast and the software and everything. So yours may be something different. Yours could have been the gardening like I was doing, and the vegetables I still do today. I have some perfect bell peppers out there now, but let's learn to focus on ourselves. There's so many things going on in the world. We went from all kind of things with political things, health concerns, all these things were happening. So we have to focus on ourselves and get our mind to a position that we're at peace. I find I'm having a birthday soon. I'm going to be turning 60 years old. I know a lot of you can't believe that. You say, I thought you were going to be 40. But I'm going to be turning 60 years old. And at 60, I still want to be at peace like I am now. I've never found peace like I am now. I'm sober. My mind is sober. My body is sober. I'm at peace. I have a sense of, of not worrying like I used to. Anything that would happen with my family or my girls or anything, I would just jump to the a mode of just like solve this problem real quick. But we have to take time out and focus on ourselves and be at peace. And peace means just being happy to me, at work. I've always said I never would work a job that I have to go in there every day and say, man, I hate being here. And I've been there. I said that after I worked this last job years ago. I've been on my current job for over 17 years. But I remember working a job that I hated driving there, and I hated driving back, and I hated being there. And I just wasn't productive after, a few years of being there. I just wasn't productive. So be somewhere where you're going to be happy. I'm somewhere where I'm happy and I like doing what I do. Do things that you like doing. Don't be out so much just to please everybody else. You got to make everybody else happy. Make yourself happy. You be happy. God wants you to be happy. God wants you to be at peace. He wants you to be there. And whether it comes from your prayer life, or your friends or your family, gather those things together. Be sober in your mind, be vigilant, and be prepared to face anything that comes before you. And when those things come before you, you can handle them in a way that it won't disrupt your mind, disrupt your heart. You'll still be able to go on as usual. As you get older like I am, you got to deal with things in your health. A lot of you know that I just dealt with prostate cancer, still dealing with different things now. But I was at peace through the situation after I found out, after about a month, my mind became at ease. I said, I got to face this head on. It ain't nothing I can do to change it. I can't say, okay, I'm not going to take it. Give me something else. You can't do that. I'm not going to accept it. If it's there, it's there, And so I dealt with it. And that's not saying that I didn't have faith. Yeah, I had faith, but I had to accept things as though they were. I had to accept things that this is fact. It's written in paper. It's proven that you have this. So now you take the proof and you add your faith to that. You add God and your faith to that. It's not saying that you don't have faith. Oh, you know how people, I ain't accepted that. That's the devil. The devil ain't going to tell me I got this and that. But it's on paper right there, and it's on proof. But you take what the doctor said or what somebody else said, and you apply your faith and you move forward with it. So be it mind. That's the same thing with your mind. Your mind, the people say, oh, I don't need no mental health treatment. I don't need no medication. I don't need no therapy. But you need therapy for your body. You take physical therapy. You do things for your heart. Something wrong with your heart. Something wrong with your kidneys. Something wrong with your liver. You treat those. Why not treat your mind? If something is wrong up here, you know things ain't right, find somebody to talk to and get yourself in a position that you're moving forward. First, pray to God. Say, God, lead me to the right people. And you help me most of all. Let me have a sober mind. Let me have a mind that I can move and be about my daily function without being on edge, without anxiety kicking in and depression. Anxiety and depression are real, people. We can look over it as much as we want, but some of these things are real. Some of these things are things that we deal with, some of the things that I deal with daily. But I know that I have faith in God, that he's going to take care of me, and I have faith in myself. And Tony, you're going to be all right. So as we go through life's changes every day, things happen every day. Don't let them knock you off your path of going straight. You can be moving just like that, and something knocks you off just about that way a little bit. And right now it seems like you're still moving straight. But miles down the road, you find out that you're veering off that way just by a little bit of an inch of something that knocked you off in the past. Just by a little bit, you find out that I've been knocked off my path. I've been knocked off my path by something that happened in the past. Don't let something that happened in the past knock you off your path to success and freedom in your mind. I'm Tony the Mayor. I thank you for listening to me. Continue to listen to my podcast of Experience, Strength, and Hope on Spotify, Anchor FM, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. It's everywhere. All you got to do is Google my name. Put my name in the search engine. Tony the Mayor, Antonio Tim, then Tony the Mayor Tim, Tony the Mayor T, and you're going to find me. Thank you. You have a blessed day, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys face to face, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys in the future. Thank you.